Ladies and gentlemen, this is yet another weekend of Trackmania action that starts. We are currently casting step number 5 of the Open Grand League. Again, hundreds of players are going to duke it out against each other and try to get into the top 8 to qualify for the combined match and get a chance at qualifying for the next Trackmania Grand League Summer happening in 2020. Hello everybody, I'm Thomas Mengozi, aka GGeek, and I'll be your host today as we go through step number 5 of the Open Grand League. Now, we've seen plenty of action on step 4 before the announcement that I had to cast for Step 5 of TMGL with the Pittsburgh Knights, and we're going to see plenty of action today. I really hope so. But before we get into that, so we're going to start in around less than 10 minutes. The placements will start in less than 10 minutes, and we got things pretty exciting lining up. Without further ado, let's actually check in on what's the... for those of you who actually don't know the OpenGL and are actually new to the stream and want to know what the Open Grand League is like, here is what it's all about. So, the Open Grand League is a competition that is absolutely open to everyone. Even you can participate if you have a Trackmania Stadium key. The competition consists of 6 steps played over the course of 6 weeks. At the end of those 6 steps, the top 8 of the Open Grand League will get their chance to face off against the bottom 8 of the Trackmania Grand League winter season and potentially get a chance to qualify themselves for the Trackmania Grand League Summer 2020. Here's the format of the competition, of the various steps in the competition. First of all, we're going to have a placement match, which we're going to see in around 8 minutes and 30 seconds. The placement match is played in checkpoints mode. All 6 maps are played, 3 minutes per map, and the objective is to actually cross as many checkpoints as possible within the time limit. After that, players will be placed in 4 different leagues: Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Top 32, which is going to be what we're going to be focusing on later on, since this is where all the magic happens. The match after that is then the league match played in the TMGL format. Champions mode, 6 laps per map, 6 maps. The first 3 maps are get out of jail free cards, so everybody scores, while the last 3 maps are where the magic happens and where the money time really happens, because if you get outside of the top 8 on maps 4, 5, or 6, you will lose all the points that you've accumulated so far and will only score the point of your particular map placement. Depending on the league, there will be a set number of laps and a set number of points that you can gain. In Bronze, you can only run 2 laps per map and win up to 3,000 points per step. In Silver, that number bumps up to 4 laps per map and 5,000 points per step. In Gold and Top 32, you get the same amount of laps as the Trackmania Grand League, which means 6 laps, but what differs is that in Gold you can win up to 8,000 points per step, whereas in Top 32 you can win up to 10,000 points per step, and that counting really matters in the overall ranking. Speaking of the overall ranking, here's what the order looks like after step number 4, Gwen asserting his dominance since day 1, with claiming the top rank just shy of 40,000 points for Team Game Ward. Then we find the 2 Swiss XLT teammates, Afi in 2nd place, followed by Yannick in 3rd. Then Legu moved up to 4th place after step number 4, the Legu player from Team Versatility. Then we find a few new entrants. We find 2 new entrants, the first one being Egir in 5th place, the Hungarian driver from Team Centauri. Then in 6th place we find Legu's teammate, Tricky for Team Versatility, 7th place for Vonera in Team XLT, and the other newcomer in the top 8, Rezo for Team Elementary, the Slovak driver actually making some really good progress after step number 4. Now that we're done with the graphic, let's actually check out the map order for today, which is going to be the same as the step 5 of the Trackmania Grand League. Starting off with ContestDiving, which is going to be the one characterized by a grass slide U-turn surrounded by water. We're going to get a little bit more into that later once we get into the actual step match after the placements. Then map number 2 is going to be JustSkidding by Nadeo and Firestorm. And then we're going to have WaveBreaker as map number 3, the one which consists of a series of jumps in the dirt by Firestorm himself. Then map number 4 will be FreeSpirit by Link, a map that is pretty new to some of those players. Then we're going to have map number 5, which is Zeppelin by Firestorm, by his MD points, sorry. One of the maps that claimed the big points in this Grand League winter so far. And then map number 6 to close it out will be StarCase. So then, we are currently on server number 7. Server number 7, there's plenty of people around here, and actually, we're going to switch into the game to show you what is happening at the moment, if I still have control of all of this. Yes, let's actually see. Yeah, see, we are in ContestDiving, and those people are actually doing a photo group. This is actually, well, most of the players that are actually in the server right here. You can see they are all grouping up at the identity, which is the grass slide U-turn surrounded by water. People are parking all over the place. That's actually an activity in these here. So you can see there's Spirit, there's T-Tox, there's Nick Sobi from Team Umbra. We've got Granity, we've got We got Clearwater from Team Lumen. Sorry for the tilted camera, that was the one for the identity. We got Tricky from Team Versatility. We've got, yeah, we got plenty of good people. We got our man Gravity, the mad lad himself, the wheel player, not the real, the wheel player. We got Nixaby for Team Umbra. Let's see who we got. Do we have any high-profile names that are parked up there? I don't think we have seen anyone yet. So we see that Razi, some people are still running. We got Focus, we got Razi a little bit in the background there. Let's actually see if we can catch anyone else going through the identity. Joie du Content, Goutu, Joie du Content. Yes, a typically French name, of course. Anyways, just stretch things. Anyway, we're just going to reactivate the HUD as the placement match is starting in around 5 minutes. So, what we're going to do, in the meantime, we're going to take a bit of a quick break. We're going to take a break of a few minutes, just the time for me to hydrate myself, to ventilate my room a little bit because it's a little bit dusty. And after that, we will be back for the placement match of step number 5. Stay with us. Alright, I am back. I have ventilated my room. I drank some water to actually get some lubrication in my throat. And yeah, we're about to start the placement match. We're going to be going on contest diving in a little bit here. We have less than 2 minutes to go before the start of it all. So I'm going to switch to the camera scene real quick, and I'm going to go on the record and say, actually announce that after a successful Step 5 cast of the Trackmania Grand League for the Pittsburgh Knights, I will actually be piling it up again. I will be casting for them the 6th and final qualifying step for Tween. This is going to be one of the most exciting matches that I will potentially cast. I hope so. I actually hope so, because if I spitball on words like that, I might backfire. I really hope that I really hope that everything is going to be awesome, and I'm really hoping that Tween will be able to secure the top 8 spot to go to Lyon next week. To go to Lyon on the February 20th. So let's actually head over into the game. We're around a little over a minute remaining. You can see in the left corner of your screen. And yeah, so we're going to be going live pretty soon with the placement matches. So we can see, let's actually see who is in the server. So we got Sparkling W in here. We got Nixobi. We've got Simpfried. We've got Tacoons. We've also got Snixotica, which I saw. We got Yavzo. We got Focus. We've got Gravity. The THE Trinity right here. Then we got Tricky, currently sitting in P6 in the standings, if I recall correctly. Yeah, P6 in the standings. Then we got Roro, we got The Time Lost, we got Unity Enjoy, we got Sparito, we got Clearwater also in there as well. We got Micmat, we've got Vive la Bretagne. Yes, Vive la Bretagne, bien sûr. We got Nixotica in there as well, and that's pretty much it. The server is pretty much stacked. We've got 64 slots available. There are around, let's say 56 players, so we still have 8 slots if need be. But anyway, oh, all right, we've also got Askun's in there. Askun's currently streaming also as well. Askun's from French channel, from the French channel called Trash. And yeah, he's going to be training himself for the Lyon esport as well. We're going to be starting in 5 seconds time, starting with ContestDiving, a map that we saw getting used to its full extent on the Open Grand League last time, on the Trackmania Grand League last Sunday. Let's see how the Open Grand League players get around with this. So as you can see, the identity is a particularly difficult grass slide. It's a particularly tricky grass slide U-turn that is surrounded by water. If you fail managing the distance of your jump and drop out into the water, you're completely done and you're guaranteed to respawn and lose 3 to 4 seconds in the whole matter. So we're going to be starting with for 3 minutes of play. Let's actually bump up the car sound a little bit. There we go. So we currently see that people are starting grouping up. We got plenty of fails in here, one full stop pick in here as well. Let's actually see who we got. We got Tricky emerging a little bit in the lead in front of Gravity in second and Nixotica in third. And yeah, still remaining a pretty good battle across the board so far. Let's actually see if we can get the music back though. Okay, sorry for that. Hopefully you can hear the game good and that everything is alright. So, Tricky currently falling back a little bit behind Granity and Nixotica, as well as Razi getting into the mix. Razi in P3. Now, remember, we're not in the live step yet. The goal here is to cross as many checkpoints as you can to get as much of a best seeding as you can in those very early steps, so that you can potentially land yourself a spot in the top 32. As we see Razi getting for the wallbang here, whereas Granity and the rest of the field opt to go for a rather safer drift approach, even though the drift is a little bit longer and costs you a little bit more time. So we're gonna try to get the music fairly even. Okay, so we go to the grass slide identity here, and yeah, the top 3 negotiating that pretty well. Maybe Granity having a little bit of a moment here on the curb on the outside, but still remaining in that right group, currently half a second down on Tricky and Razi, who are currently battling it out really hard for the lead here. Razi currently in the lead after lap number 1. Let's see if Tricky can do something about it and overtake the Croatian driver to potentially get the virtual first place for this particular map on this placement match. Let's actually see a little bit further down the field. We got Phil from Team FWO, currently sitting in 8th place, battling it out with Roro from Team Ombra, currently sitting in 7th place. We've got also Nixotica, the American driver, sitting in P4 right now with a minute remaining on the clock, 1.9 seconds down on the leader and 1 second down on Granity, the man directly in front of him. Meanwhile, Granity, the wheel player himself, currently sitting in 3rd place, 1.1 seconds behind the leader, but currently 3/10 behind Razi. So that could potentially be a good spot to grab and potentially get a checkpoint advantage on the Croatian driver. Of course, you might follow him on Twitter, but if for those of you who don't know, fun fact, I said wheel player, but yeah, he's actually playing with the Microsoft Sidewinder wheel from the late 90s. So yeah, that's actually a pretty cool piece of kit when you think about it. 30 seconds remaining on the clock, and Razi actually having more speed than Tricky and overtaking him before the identity, and Tricky has been forced to respawn, and that's going to be costing him costing the versatility driver dearly here. He currently rejoins in P10. Yes, he currently barely remains in the top 10, but still, he could have had a much better placement in here. That's going to cost him 2 or 3 checkpoints. With 10 seconds remaining on the clock, we've got Yavzo. As we saw that also we might have a fail from Razi, who has dropped out of the top 10, and it's going to be over for map number 1. Your top 10 after ContestDiving is Yavzo, Granady, Nixotica, Roro, Focus, Cobra, I'm not going to pronounce that word, Kachiga, Tricky in 8th, JS in 9th, and Loco in 10th. Moving on to map number 2 then, which is going to be JustSkidding. Now we're going to go back to this identity and the start of it, which is the let foot block. Now for those of you who don't know what the let foot block is, it basically just pins your throttle at 100% so you continue accelerating and all the brakes are disabled, so you're not able to stop in time. And for this particular section, it is especially tricky. You're going to see people slamming on the brakes in here and then getting really wide in here, turning really early to scrub off as much as possible, and the same will go for the second part of the identity right there. As the map has already started, I'm sorry for that, and we're going to be following the map 1 winner, which is currently Yavzo from Team Trackmania Heroes Europe. Going into the loop for the first time. So far, so good for the Dutch driver, as we see Granady also emerging a little bit in the lead. Razi getting into the mix as well. Roro as well. This is looking to be pretty competitive out there. Meanwhile, Tricky is... Oh, and actually we see as we talk about Roro, he has had a pretty big stopping on the checkpoint, and he's going to drop down the order quite heavily here. Meanwhile, Tricky, Yavzo, and Razi battling it out together for the lead place, and it seems as though we got Yavzo who had clipped the... no, actually nobody clipped the free wheel of the engine killer. That was a bit of an impression because someone actually had less speed than the others. Meanwhile, Tricky in the lead before they go into the identity as Razi tries to deal with it and tries to overtake him, and Yavzo also tries to get a slice of the pie. With the identity of Razi falling off, Yavzo falling off. Let's see if Tricky manages to get through. Yes, Tricky manages to get through, and he's going to have a comfortable lead as he crosses the finish line. Granady in second place, 1.1 second behind the French driver. Then we got in third place, 1.4 seconds behind the leader. Then we got Cobra and Phil completing the top 5. Then we got Focus in 6th place, Clearwater 7th, Darkwick 6th. Actually, Darkwick's having a bit of a moment here, dropping down to Antax in 8th, Darkwick in 10th, and Loco in 9th place. And Razi also managing to get back into the fray and get into the top 10 at the expense of Darkwick's. So let's actually go a little bit further into the lead. Let's see. Okay. Tricky pulling a big lead so far, 1.8 seconds almost compared to Granady. Granady clearing the jump beautifully. Let's actually see where Tricky is at. He's going to go towards the identity really soon here with 1 minute left on the clock. That could potentially yield a pretty significant advantage, especially in terms of completion time, which is going to be all important for placement. So you see slamming on the brakes and then go really wide, turn in really early. You actually Tricky with a little bit of a late turning, but still gets away with it. Meanwhile, also releasing here before the second lead foot and gets through pretty much cleanly to attack this third and final lap, which is going to be the final lap because you see 37 seconds remaining on the clock for Tricky to potentially bag himself his first map win in the placements after a pretty costly error on ContestDiving where he actually fell into the water and was forced to respawn, losing the best spot of 3 to 4 seconds. Meanwhile, the standings are remaining fairly good. Razi having climbed back up to 5th place, battling with Phil and overtaking Phil for 4th place here. Let's actually see Razi on the... Oh, and actually, 3rd place driver has actually dropped down with a full stopping on the checkpoint, and that's going to promote Razi back into the top 3, although pretty far away from Granady. And that's going to be it for the game. And yes, we got a 1 checkpoint advantage so far. Tricky 1st, Granady 2nd, Razi 3rd, Cobra 4th, Phil 5th, Clearwater 6th, Nizotica 7th. Then we got Roro, Antax, and Darkwix completing the top 10. Map number 3, which is going to be WaveBreaker by Firestorm. The identity is the one you see here, and it's a series of 3 dirt jumps into a kind of wavy pattern, and then we got the final part of it, which is a long uphill dirt turn and a jump where you need a certain amount of speed to actually get through. Sorry for the coughs. Anyway, we are back in the game with map number 3. We're going to be following Razi, who managed to get a late comeback into 3rd place on map number 2. And let's actually see if he can actually climb up the order yet again on map number 3 and back some very vital checkpoints and a really good seating here. Granady emerging a little bit in the lead so far. We saw Roro getting into there, but also lightly tapping the wall on the exit, so that's going to drop him down the order. Granady remaining in the lead. Nixonic in 2nd place, Yavzo in 3rd place, Tricky 4th, and Razi 5th. So a pretty good top 5 so far. Let's actually see. Oh, Tricky looked a little bit risky there. It was a really low landing, I must say, from the versatility driver, but he still remains in that right group, currently sitting in 4th place and now 3rd place, as Yavzo has had a pretty bad landing after the wall ride and drops down, but he's able to actually get the junction back and make progress. As I say that, the dirt is going to be his downfall as he falls out of step 3 and drops down to P5 as Razi overtakes him and overtakes Tricky. Razi up to 3rd place and even 2nd place. Nixonica has made a mistake as well, and that all is up to Granady to retain that 1st place as they go to the identity for the first time. 1st jump cleared beautifully for both players. Then we see the 2nd jump also beautifully landed, and the 3rd jump, Granady a bit close to the barrier, and Razi having made a little bit of a mistake, not a good landing, and Yavzo overtakes him for 2nd place. Meanwhile, we saw that Tricky has jumped down to 6th place. He must have had not so good of a dirt part and drops down to 6th place after the first lap. Grenady in the lead, 1.3 seconds in front of Razi in third place, and actually Yavzo around a second behind Grenady in second place. So Yavzo and Razi is going to be the battle to follow. Two really talented players, one playing for Molotovs and Marshmallows, the other one playing for Trackmania Heroes Europe. Tricky, meanwhile, trying to regain some form, potentially making short work of Cobra to get into fourth place. Let's actually see on the wall ride. Tricky having much more speed than Cobra and a much better landing than Cobra as well, so that's going to allow him to go up into fourth place. But actually Cobra has had almost the same landing as him, and that's not going to allow him to put up a little bit of a fight, at least for a few seconds. We got less than 50 seconds remaining on map number 3. Tricky, meanwhile, in fourth place, 2.7 seconds behind the leader. Granity in first place. Is the wheel doing wonders for him as he goes through the second time through the identity. First jump, beautifully cleared. Then we go again, 190 kilometers an hour for the second jump, beautifully cleared as well. And the third and final jump, picture perfect for Granity, who managed to keep as much speed as possible in the uphill and clear the jump to start the final lap. A 119.045, a pretty good lap for Granity in this second lap. And 10 seconds remaining on the clock as we see various people down the field full stop picking. Let's actually see if we can, yeah. Okay, sorry, I thought I had the names disabled. Meanwhile, Razi has moved up to second place, Yavzo in third place, so yeah, the battle going forth in there. And Tricky went on a little bit further behind, and it's the end of map number 3. Granity, Razi, Yavzo, Tricky, Cobra, Nixotica, Roro, Petshiga, Takuns, and Ray Fox complete your top 10. Now we're on to the new batch of maps, which is currently FreeSpirit, the map to kick it off by Link. One of the maps that is considered to be the relatively easier maps of this particular step, especially considering the identity is just a simple, engine kill followed by one slide and a boost uphill. So currently Tricky has not had so good maps. He had a pretty horrible first map to, I would say, with 8th place on ContestDiving. He got an easy map win on JustSkidding and got 4th place on WaveBreaker. Let's actually see if he manages to get the good places where it actually matters. Tricky, meanwhile, remaining in that grand group of the top 5. Gravity, Razi, Yavzo, Focus, and Tricky. 3 TG drivers in the top 5 so far. Granity with a bit of an advantage here, going for a bit of a wider line to get more speed, but Razi has a much better line than Yavzo, going for the Desperado strat, but it doesn't really work out for him as he's going to drop back down into 4th place as it seems, or potentially 5th place with Focus. Yes, Focus is overtaking Yavzo, and Yavzo in P5. Focus P4. Tricky overtaking Granity for 2nd place. Granity has made a mistake meanwhile, and yeah, he's dropped down from 1st to 3rd. Razi in the lead. 3/10 in front of Tricky, but actually Razi having less speed than Tricky, he could potentially get overtaken here by the French driver. Let's see, both going for the respawn, nobody going for the Neo slide strat here as we go through the identity for the first time. Engine kill, first slide for Tricky, second slide here around the pole, and then get the car right in line, 275 kilometers an hour at the exit of the booster, which is more than enough to clear the hill at speed and cross the finish line to regain the control of the engine. Then one final drop down here, rotate the car right, and cross the start-finish line to start the lap. 127.445, the time after lap number 1 from Tricky, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. As Razi pulls up a little bit of a fight and overtakes Tricky for the lead meanwhile. Let's actually see where the others are at. Granady within striking distance. He's really, really in there. He could potentially take advantage of other people's mistakes and potentially grab 1 or 2 spots and potentially 1 or 2 checkpoints advantage here. Yavzo in P4, Focus in P5, Nixotica in P6, just a little bit further behind, 2 seconds down on the leader, half a second down on Focus. Meanwhile, Roro in P8 behind the 7th place driver, which I will refrain from pronouncing the name, who is currently attacking Nixotica. Nixotica getting overtaken by him. Meanwhile, up front, we got, again, Granady, Razi, and Tricky battling it out, and then we got Yavzo also joining in. So yeah, a pretty good four-way battle for first place could potentially be brewing up. Razi and Tricky. Oh, Tricky with a bit of a clip here on the inside of the dirt, dropping a little bit more momentum to compared to Razi. All people going for the respawn, nobody going for the Neo, and Granady clipping the inside and dropping a lot of speed as a result. 267 kilometers an hour. It would still be enough for clearing the hill, but he gets overtaken by Focus, who had much more speed. at the identity. So yeah, Granady dropping down to P5, Focus in P4, Yavzo P3, Tricky in P2, and Razi in the lead, and that's going to be the remaining order. Oh, Razi actually... Has Razi made a mistake? No, he still remains the first man in line. So Razi, Tricky, Yavzo, Focus, Nixotica, 6th place driver, Roro, Granady, Shayrim, the first time that I see him, and Takuns in the top 10. Moving on to map number 5, which is going to be Zeppelin by MD Point, which this is the map that where we saw the big points getting dropped in the Trackmania Grand League last Sunday, with especially Spam losing 43 points after a really bad identity part, forcing him to respawn twice if I'm not mistaken. Sorry for the coughs, guys. I'm a little bit in there. Anyways, map number 5 about to start. We're going to be focusing on, let's see where we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on Askuns. We haven't seen any of him yet. Askuns, former YouTuber, now turned streamer, who is going to be trying out to qualify for the Lyon Esports Trackmania event, and potentially down the line get entered into the Zerator Trackmania Cup 2020 in June at Bercy. So Asking pretty far down the order, currently sitting in 36th place. Meanwhile, Yavzo and Tricky leading up the field. Let's actually check in on the two guys. Yavzo first place, Tricky second, Focus in third place, Razi fourth, and we got the 5th place driver in here as well. Razi actually overtaking Focus and demoting him to P4, and Focus making a mistake, and that's going to drop him down further and further as he gets overtaken. Oh, we got Ray Fox, who had a pretty good full stop pick, and that's going to drop him out of contention for good. Meanwhile, Tricky in first place, 0.2 of a second in front of Razi. Then we got Granady in third place. Then we got Nixotica fourth and Focus in 5th. Pretty good top 5 so far. Nixotica having a wide line there. He dropping third place to Granady and potentially falling prey to Focus as they go to the identity for the first time in this step. First Zeppelin jump here. Dropping down a little bit here. Nixotica and Focus getting the full stop pick, and he's going to be forced to take the boosters. Is he going to be able to clear the checkpoint? No, he's going to be forced to respawn. That's really devastating for the German Trackmania Heroes Europe driver. Meanwhile, Tricky, Granady, and Razi going through the Zeppelin, and Granady taking the line in first place. Razi second, Tricky third. Tricky having not the best landing in the Zeppelin so far, and that's going to drop him down from first to third. Meanwhile, in the checkpoint, oh, Razi clutching the wall on the inside, and that's going to drop him down again to his turn to third place. Meanwhile, Nixotica in fourth place, 2.7 seconds down, 2 seconds down on Razi, 2.8 seconds down on the leader. 5th place for Cobra, Antax 6th, Focus 7th, 8th place driver, and then Phil and Karen complete the top 10 so far with 1 minute left on the clock. Granady pulling a small lead out, a small lead ahead. 0.4 of a second in front of Tricky, as we see many people failing left, right, and center throughout the field. Razi in third place, 1.1 seconds behind the leader, 0.7 behind Tricky. Could he potentially claw some time back? As we saw that Tricky had a little bit of a dodgy landing on the Zeppelin before, so he could potentially take advantage of that and grab a few potential tenths and potentially grab second place here. Let's actually see as they go through the identity for the second time. We're going to be focusing on Tricky here. Pretty much perfect jump for Granady, who conserves as much speed as he can. Same for Tricky so far. Let's actually see the clearing of the checkpoint. The checkpoint is cleared. A little bit of a tap on the checkpoint for Tricky. Ooh, that was a bit of a tricky landing there. And Tricky still remaining in second place. Let's see if Razi was able to claw some gap back. No, and that's going to be the end of the map. So, Granady in first place, Tricky second, Razi third, Nixotica fourth, Focus 5th, 6th place driver, Cobra, JS, Phil, and Shayrim completing your top 10 as we're going to be heading into map number 6, which is going to be the final map of the placements, and it is StarCase. Yes, I was actually looking for it. StarCase, which is a map that was actually pretty tense to watch as a caster. As you may remember, if you were on the Knights channel, it was here that Tween was just one lap away, or just 1 second away from actually dropping out all of those points and finishing out of the top 10 and finishing out of the top 8. So we're going to be focusing on Granady, the last map winner. Wheel player currently making pretty good progress in here. Potentially looking to go for a seeding in gold or top 32 if all the stars align. Meanwhile, Tricky and Rozzy will almost always look for a top 32 seeding, as they are currently looking pretty good in the standings, especially Tricky currently sitting in P6 in the yeah. Tricky having a little bit less speed than the others and getting overtaken down to P5 by Nixotica, Granady, Yavzo, and Rozzy. Rozzy 4th place, and Granady, you have been going a little bit wide, and that's going to drop a little bit of speed, and will allow Yavzo and Rozzy to overtake him. Granady demoting did from 2nd to 4th in the space of a few corners, and Tricky could potentially take advantage of that as well. Rozzy a little bit less speed than Tricky. Oh, this is going to be a bit of a rubber banding battle here in the top 5. Let's actually see how they will fare as we get closer and closer to the identity of map number 6. Exotica with a bit of a wide line there. I almost feared for him as he almost touched the wall on the outside. And they are going to go through the identity for the first time. And we saw that Rozzy got a... we saw that one of the players got dropped off. No, that might be my imagination. So, first jump done, second jump done for people. And actually, Rozzy having made a bit of a mistake. And oh, no, Rozzy's still in there, but he's going to be forced to go for the safe route. People actually going for the safe route a lot, actually. Except for Nixotica, who goes for the final jump and gets credited with a pretty good lap. So, Granady in first place, battling it out with Tricky. Tricky and Granady battling it out for the lead. Really interesting battle here with 120 left on the clock. Yauzo 3rd, Rozzy 4th, then we got the 5th place driver, then we got Nixotica, Focus, Cobra, Darkwix, and Roro completing the top 10 with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Let's actually check in on Roro, who's got a lot more speed after the jump, and he's going to overtake Cobra for P9 and potentially Darkwix for P8. Yes, he does. Does he make it stick? Yes, he does. And that's going to be 2 places gained for Roro in the space of a few CPs, just like that. Next target is Focus, who's going to be a little bit further up the road, 5/10 ahead of him. Meanwhile, Granady remaining in the lead, Tricky in 2nd place, the two remaining within close distance of each other, 0.2 of a second between the French and the German driver. And the two guys pulling out a really staggering lead ahead of Yavzo. Yavzo currently sitting 1.6 seconds behind the leader and actually gaining a little bit of time on Tricky, who has dropped a little bit of momentum in the final few corners. 30 seconds left on the clock. Granady remaining pretty comfortably in the lead, looking set to get map number 6 as well, as they go through the identity for the second time in the final time in their placements. First jump done. Oh, and it's going to be turtling and forced to respawn. Tricky's going to drop a lot of time through this. And let's actually see if he goes for the second jump. No, he's going to go for the safe route, as did Granady. And Granady will remain safe and sound in first place, as this is going to be the end of map number 6 and the end of placements. Potentially a checkpoint advantage? Nope. Granady, Tricky, Rozzy, Yavzo, Nixotica, Roro, 7th place driver, Focus, Cobra, and Darkwix complete your top 10 for map number 6. And that's going to be it for the placements. So, now that the placements are done, we're going to take a little bit of a quick break. At least the placements are done on this server, but not on the others. There are still placement badges still being run, and we're going to wait for all of them to be finished and to actually, in order to actually get into the top 32 match once we get the link for it. So, we're going to take a quick break as a result of that, a break from a few minutes, and we're going to be back right after this. Stay with us. Alright, we had a bit of trouble. We didn't actually have the league matches immediately after that, so we actually managed to get into a spot here, and we're going to be able to switch back into the game as we're going to be heading right ahead with the warm-up for map number 1, which is going to be ContestDiving, a map that is characterized by a grass slide U-turn surrounded by water, and we're going to delve deeper and deeper into the map as we go through. And yeah, we're just going to be waiting for other people to start. We're going to be waiting for the start of the match. We'll see other people currently training. So we got Hydra, we got Yannick, we got Mixmod, Egir, Mi4, Reizo, we got Gwen, we got Legu, we've got Mika, we got Nixotica, we got Granity in there as well. So Granity getting a top 32 spot, really good for him, as we're going to be getting started with map number 1 out of 6. It is going to be ContestDiving by Nadeo and Firestorm, and we're going to be spectating Granity, the wheelman himself. So starting out with ContestDiving, a pretty simple dirt section here. Actually, pretty simple, pretty straightforward dirt section, even though it is one of the trickiest out there. Granity currently remaining in the right group, everybody being grouped up nice and easy. And we're going to get into one of the interesting points of this map, which is going to be CP7 and CP8. So the wall right part, which we're going to get to in a little bit here, as Gwen gets the lead, but gets also clipping the curb, and that's going to drop him down the order, dropping him down to 12th place as a result. So we're going to get into CP7. Notice the boosters here. The players are going to have to start the drift before the end of the booster and get really close to the apex, then jump a little bit, and then at the drop down, rotate the car right to auto slide on the exit, and then on the drop down, continue the slide into the wall ride here, which is without a cam switch here. Then we're going through the wall ride, and then the second one here, people would tend to go for the wall bang or for the strat here. Egir and Yannick going for the wall bang, going a little bit faster than Granity as a result, and getting into the lead battle. Yannick's in the lead, Egir in second place, then we got Granity third, Nock in fourth, Mi4 fifth, Gwen 6, Mika 7, and Dofal 8, as the Egir and Yannick will go through the identity for the first time. Granity as well. Let's see who gets the grass slide perfectly. Gwen gets it almost perfectly and gains a lot of positions, going up to second place and actually taking the fight to Yannick into the final part of the identity, where you actually have to aim right, rotate the car, let slide on the grass, and get onto the right curb. And he manages to get that perfectly, Gwen, as he gets into the lead. Nock in second place, Granity third place, Yannick fourth, Dofal fifth, Egir 6th, Zotica 7th, and we see Legu have made a mistake, and he's dropped down to 13th place. Gwen with the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:23.835. The fastest lap so far is a 1:17.528 in the TMGL Step 5, made by Strappy. Meanwhile, Gwen in the lead, half a second in front of Granity and Dofald, actually in the battle with Granity and Nock. Yannick as well, remaining in that group battle, so potentially a good battle here for second place. Egir a little bit further behind in 6th place. Then we got Nixotica and Mixmod completing the top 8 so far. Let's actually see. Yeah, Mixmod having a little bit of a better line than Nixotica. And Nixotica going really wide on the wall ride. They're dropping a lot of momentum, allowing Mixmod to close back up and potentially challenge for 7th place. And he overtakes the American driver as he gets, and actually clips the wall on the inside of the double bank, and that's going to be dropping it down from P7 to P9. Meanwhile, the identity coming up. Dofal in 3rd place. The Belgian driver making really good progress here, as we see Gwen going through that identity here. Yes, he gets it pretty much perfectly with a lot of speed. He remains in 1st place. Yannick 2nd, and then Egir manages to take advantage of Dofal's rather poor grass slide to move up into 3rd place. The Centauri driver looking pretty good in shape here. Dog in 5th place, meanwhile. Nock in 6th. Nixotica dropping down to 8th. Granady down in P7. We have missed a mistake on camera, and that was actually pretty difficult for him to actually follow, and he's dropping down to P8. Now remember, this is a top 16 map, as is WaveBreaker and JustSkidding, which are going to be the following. So nobody gets penalized. The real kicker are going to be FreeSpirit, Zeppelin, and StarCase, as always. Gwen in 1st place, meanwhile. And actually have struck down dramatically. He slowed down dramatically. He must have actually hit a wall or something. Went with the fastest lap of the race so far with the 1:20.486, but with a single mistake like that, he drops 8/10 and drops down from 1st to 3rd. Yannick's in 1st place. 2nd, the Swiss driver, then followed by Egir from Hungary. Then we got Gwen, and then we got Dofalt. 5th place for Dog, 6th place for Nixotica. 6 different nations in the 6 first places. Then we got Nock in 7th, Granity in P8, Mixmod P9th, Reizo in P10, going for the wall bang in here, and actually moving up to 8th place, overtaking Mixmod and Mi4, Granity in P11. It's not really going all that good for the THC driver. Meanwhile, the identity coming up for the top 3 drivers. Egir, Yannick, and Gwen in that order. Let's see who gets it better. Gwen gets it much better. He gets the curb clip on the inside, and carries much more momentum than both of the drivers and overtakes them both for first place. Gwen remaining in the lead so far at the end of lap number 3. Oh, and actually Egir putting up a fight and actually crossing the line in the lead for just 1/100th of a second. Gwen, meanwhile, has managed to retake the lead from Egir, but still. Gwen's first, Egir second, Yannick's in third, Dofal fourth, Dog in fifth, and Raizo has managed to climb up from outside the top 10 into 6th place. He's in a pretty good position so far to score some pretty good points to start off his step. Dog in 5th place, then we got Nock in 7th, Nixotic in P8, Granity in P9, Miquatro P10, Mixmod 11, Miquatro and Mixmod battling it out to each other and actually reeling in Granity right now as the German driver has a little bit of a difficult start to his step. Egir with the fastest up of the race so far with a 1:20.280 after lap number 3. Meanwhile, let's actually focus on some of the people that could have been up there, but is not really looking good at the moment. Easy Power from Team Centauri currently in last place with 32 seconds. Then we got Hydra from Team XLT 15th place with 31.9 down on the leader. So you see the gaps, except for the top 3, the gaps are starting to pretty much spread out throughout the field. And we had some plenty good players actually make mistakes. So we got Legu in 3rd place, 11.8 seconds behind the leader. Then we got Hydra, Easy Power, we got Mika as well as they go through their identity. Egir going really good in here. Gwen as well, Yannick's as well. Gwen and Yannick's battling it out with 2nd place. Let's actually see on the 2nd part of the identity how everything fares. Egir going with a really tight late apex here. He gets as much speed as he can and gets into 1st place at the finish line. And Yannick has dropped down a lot of speed. Egir as well, he clipped the wall. And that's going to allow Gwen to get back up to 1st place. This place that he seemed to have occupied forever so far in the Open Grand League. Gwen in the lead, half a second in front of Yannick's. Then Egir half a second behind Yannick's. Then we got Duffalt in 4th place, 1.66 seconds behind the leader. And 2.7 seconds behind the leader, we got Ray's in 5th place. A really hectic start to step number 1 as we see that Gwen has had a lot of moments and he dropped a lot of speed as a result. Yannick gets back up in the lead, taking advantage of the momentum lost by Bren. Fastest one on the track so far is Ray's with a 1:20.380 on lap number 4. 1:20.280 is the fastest up of the race and is credited to the man on screen right here, Egir, Hungarian driver Team Centauri. And we see 2 different trajectories for both Gwen and Yannick. Gwen going for the inside road at the exit of the wall ride, and Egir going for the wall bang as opposed to the 2 leaders who go for a simple drift. As they go through the identity for the 5th time. The penultimate time in this Open Grand League. Let's see, Gwen. Oh, Egir getting the curb clip and Gwen having a little bit of a dodgy landing, but still remaining a lot of speed. Egir did not really manage to capitalize on that good grass slide. Yannick's in the lead. Gwen in 2nd place. Let's actually see the landing. And actually, Gwen has a much more speed than Yannick's, but Yannick's will cross the line in the lead, attacking the final lap on ContestDiving for this entire league. But Gwen has managed to overtake Yannick's in the subsequent corners and now is in the lead. 1/10 in front of Yannick's. Then we got Egir half a second behind, 6/10 behind the leader. Then we got Ray's 2.8 seconds and actually having clutched the curb, and that's going to allow Dog to overtake him. Bye-bye. Dog skids by and takes up 4th place from him. Then we got Nixotica in 5th place who could potentially take advantage of the fact that Race has dropped a lot of momentum right now. And yes, he seems as though he will be overtaking him for 5th place. Let's actually see over the course of this particular section. Race seems to have got his act together and stabilized the gap. So, winning the lead, 4/10 in front of Yannick. Then we got 1 second down on the leader. Egir in 3rd place. We're going to remain with him for the final lap here. Sorry for the coughs. Egir going for the wall bang. I think we saw Yannick going for the drift as well. 1:20.727. Fastest lap man on lap number 5 was Legu. As we go for the identity for the final time. Ooh, and Yannick slipping the top of the checkpoint, and that's going to allow Egir to potentially overtake him in the identity. Let's see how they go. Ooh, Yannick's going with a really risky one. He manages to conserve more speed than Egir and remains in 2nd place. Meanwhile, Gwen could potentially be set to cross the line in 1st place. Let's see the landing. Landing is pretty much perfect for him, and Gwen wins match number 1. Egir for 2nd place. Yannick's in 3rd place. Yannick's dropped a lot of speed at the landing. Dog in 4th. Nock in 5th. Mixmod 6. Nixotic has made a mistake and drops down to P8. And P9, P10, Ray's in 7th place, Legu 8th place, Dofalt 9th place, Nixotica 10th place, then we got Sika 7th, Granady 12th, Miquatro in 13th place, then we got Mika following him, Hydra and Easy Power, and fastest up of the race for Gwen with a 1:20.246. So you see Miquatro crossing the line in 13th place, Mika in 14th place, then we got Hydra going through the identity, we're going to see Easy Power going through it as well, and potentially complete the rest of all runners. They got plenty of time to finish. They got 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. Hydra going over the finish line right now. Easy Power forced to respawn the identity. Let's see how he gets through here. Having a really shallow corner here. That's not really the optimal strat here. He did not master the art of the grass slide. He did not go for that 90-degree angle. He wanted to just safe his way through. Potentially after failing a few grass slides, but yeah, that's not really the most optimal line from Easy Power, who crosses the line in last place, 70 seconds down on the leader. So after map number 1, your top 8 is as follows: Gwen, Egir, Yanix, Dog, Nok, Mixmod, Raze, and Legu. Gwen with 20 points, Egir with 14, Yanix with 12, Dog with 10, Nok with 9, Mixmod with 8, Raze with 7, and Legu with 6, as we're gonna head into map number 2, which is going to be JustSkidding. Thank you, Libera, for the kind words, by the way. It might seem that I'm not really paying attention to the chat, but I do read everything, even though I don't really answer. Thank you very much for the words. So, map number 2 is going to be JustSkidding, a map that I actually a little bit explained the principle of the identity. The fastest lap of the race so far, with the fastest lap of the map with a 105.314, is attributed to Bran, who won map number 2 really easily on this particular step, which was played last Sunday. So then, as we're gonna go through the map a little bit here, the first jump is played full speed by most drivers. 255 kilometers an hour is the clearing speed of the ring. It will be done full speed in the first lap, but in the second lap, people will actually have to lift just before the jump or after the, or while in midair, to actually control the distance of the jump. Then we go to the triple checkpoint part here. Now, the optimal strat would be to go through all 3 pillars here to actually conserve as much momentum as possible, but some people will actually go through the first full checkpoint and then for the 2 pillars. Then we see this jump here. 290 kilometers an hour necessary at least to clear the freewheel and avoid the engine killer. And then we're gonna go onto the identity for the first time, at least in the warm-up. As we're checking on the point of view of Easy Power, consisting of 2 lat-foot blocks, we're gonna see people slamming on the brakes to actually not have as much momentum as they should have. You can see Easy Power slamming on the brakes down to 110 kilometers an hour, then turning it early on the dirt to scrub off as much speed as possible, get it the car at an angle, then slow down again for the second lat-foot block to keep as low momentum as possible to avoid risking it too much and potentially falling off the track as they go through to start another lap. So then, 20 points for Gwen in the lead, 14 for Egir in second place, Yanix third, Dog fourth, Nok, Mixmod, Raze, and Legu. Complete your top 8 so far, as we're about to start map number 2, which is JustSkidding by Nadeo and Firestorm. I'm going to be spectating Raze, currently sitting in P7 with 7 points on the board. Everybody remaining grouped up so far. Let's actually see Raze going for the interesting line, the Riolu line as I like to call, going from right to left in here, potentially to get a better landing, even though I don't really see the point of it, as everybody seems to get away pretty cleanly. Yanix emerging a little bit in the lead with Granady following him, and yeah, we see that Raze having a little bit more momentum, could try to make something happen, but it doesn't really happen so far. Let's actually see in a checkpoint. Oh, and we saw some big stopping. Hydra has failed it. Dog has failed it, and that's going to be those people dropping out. Mika has failed it. Granady currently so in 13th place, but still remaining in that little train right now, whereas Hydra and Dog are definitely out of the competition. Meanwhile, Gwen has emerged in the lead, 2/10 in front of Yanix, and Yanix has dropped a lot of speed. He must have clicked the freewheel before the jump, and that's dropped him down to 11th place. So Yanix in 11th place, Legu in 2nd place, Egir in 3rd place. Yeah, we got plenty of changes going on as they go to the identity for the first time. Egir going for the full speed, and he's going to drop out. What a mistake from the Hungarian driver. I would have expected better than that. Actually, Mixmod battling it out with Legu and Gwen, but Mixmod dropping a lot of momentum, and that's going to dropping him down to 7th place. Gwen in the lead, Legu in 2nd place, Sika in 3rd, Dofal 4th, Yanix in 5th, Mikbarto 6th, Mixmod 7th. Then we got Easy Power in 8th place. Nok in 9th, Granady completing the top 10. Gwen with the fastest lap of the race so far with the 109.730. A lot of mistakes being made by a lot of players. Currently, Raze a little bit further behind, 3 seconds behind the leader. Then we got Nixotic, the first people who made mistakes. Mika, Nixotica, then we got Dog, and Egir, who has been forced to respawn, is now down in last place, just behind Hydra. Actually, 8/10 behind Hydra, who's currently sitting in P15. Meanwhile, Gwen in the lead has managed to clear the freewheel. Yanix does not manage to clear. He's forced to respawn. Unbelievable. The 3rd place driver in the overall standing is forced to respawn and drops out of contention to potentially score some big boy points in this second map. Absolutely devastating for the XLT driver. Meanwhile, Gwen remaining in the lead, Legu in second place. We got Mixmod, Default, and Miquacho having a battle of their own actually for third place. Mixmod currently having the advantage, Miquacho battling it out with him, and Miquacho prevailing in the end. The Finnish driver moving up to third place after a tense battle with Mixmod over the identity. Default in fourth, Mixmod fifth, Raze sixth, Easy Power seventh, then Gravity in eighth place, and meanwhile, Gwen remains comfortably in the lead. 1.6 seconds in front of Legu, then we got 6/10 further down, we got Miquacho in third place. Gravity and Easy Power having a little bit of a battle on their own for 7th place. Gwen with the fastest lap of the race so far with a bonus 6.096. As they go through the checkpoint part, everything seems to be pretty good. And Yannick's, Yannick's is pretty much done so far, and he continues making mistake after mistake, and he's dropping down the big points today. That would have been, sorry, that would have been. Sorry for the burp. That one came kind of unexpectedly. Anyway, going back to the cast. So yeah, I was saying Yannick's. That would have been the chance to actually score some big points for him, and that's going to be dropping down significantly after map 2 is done. Gwen meanwhile in the lead as they go through the identity. Legu in second place. Then we got Raze in third place. Teetering and actually Raze forced to respawn, and that's going to drop him down to 9th place and potentially 10th place. As we see where Dog is at. No, Dog is actually safe. He's at a safe distance from Raze, so Raze is going to drop down to 9th place as a result. But he was sitting in 3rd at the moment where he crossed the identity, so yeah, pretty big downfall for the Slovak driver from Team Elementary. Meanwhile, Gwen in the lead, 1 second ahead of Legu. Egir with the fastest lap of the race so far with a 106.609. No, fastest man on track, sorry. The fastest lap is Gwen with a 106.096. Sorry, I got kind of fooled by the order of numbers there. So, Gwen, Legu, Default, Mixmod, and Miquacho are your top 5 so far. Miquacho having much more momentum than Mixmod here, though, to potentially catch up big time and overtake the man for 4th place. Let's actually see how everything goes in the identity, which we're going to be crossing for the 4th time this step. Meanwhile, Gwen remaining in control of everything. Really beautifully done through this first snake section, and the second shallower S, where he could still be caught out. He manages to cross it perfectly. Meanwhile, Legu in second place drops down to 2.4 seconds down on the leader, and Default has actually managed to claw a little bit of time back from Legu, so we could potentially see a battle brewing up for 2nd place here on the penultimate lap. Mixmod in 4th place, Miquacho 5th, then we got Easy Power in 6th, Nok in 7th, and Dog in P8. He has actually overtaken Raze. Raze not scoring the big boy points, currently on the verge of scoring 5 points instead of the 6 he could have for 2nd place. Gwen the fastest man on track again with the 106.649. 3 seconds up on Legu. That is a staggering amount of a gap built up. Meanwhile, Yannick's, yeah, everything seems to be pretty complicated. Egir, even though he was looking pretty quick as of map number 3, he made a mistake too early to actually manage to recover. Gwen going through the identity for the penultimate time in this step and in the Grand League. Second Lightfoot coming up. Beautifully negotiated by Gwen, who manages to cross the line safely and surely. Meanwhile, Legu having a little bit more problems and dropping down to 3.5 seconds down on the 1st place driver. Gwen in 1st place, Legu 2nd, then we got Mixmod 3 seconds further down. Then we got Easy Power 4th, Miquacho 5th, Raze 6th, then we've got Default in 7th, who made a mistake, I presume, which we didn't catch on camera. Miquacho and Raze actually battling it out, and Dog has made another mistake and dropped down to P10. Sorry for the German driver. Meanwhile, Miquacho and Raze, the game is on. Raze the fastest man on the track so far with the 106.254, and he overtakes Miquacho for 5th place, but Miquacho has not said his last words yet. As we see the Finnish driver trying to get back on the tail of the Elementary driver. Over the free wheel, everybody seems to have cleared it, but Raze having a little bit of a wider line, a bit of a momentum loss compared to Miquacho, and that's gonna be bringing to another battle. Meanwhile, Gwen for the final time, almost dropping out of the road, almost forcing him to respawn, potentially costing him his finish, but it's not gonna be the case. Gwen wins map number 2. Legu will cross the finish line in 2nd place. Let's see. Yes, 2nd place is assured for Legu. Mixmod in 3rd place, Easy Power 4th, Raze 5th, Miquacho 6th, Mika 7th. Nok is dropping down. He must have made a mistake. Mika 7th, Dog 8th, Default 9th, Granity will cross the line in 10th place as he crosses the identity right now. Hydra, Noki in 11th place, Hydra in 12th place. Then we got Sika 13th, Noxautica 14th, Egir 15th, and Yannick 16th. The fastest up of the race with Raze with a 105.752. So, as of map number 2, the leader will stay the same, but the running order will not be exactly the same. Mixmod and Legi will remain in 2nd and 3rd place with 20 points equal. Then we're going to see Raze climb up to 4th place. Then Dog and Egir then falling down to 5th and 6th with 16 points equal to Raze. Then in 7th and 8th place, we'll find Nok and Yannick with 13 points equal as we go on to map number 3, which is going to be WaveBreaker. So, WaveBreaker, as I said earlier, a map characterized with an identity comprised of a series of three tricky jumps in the dirt, which actually resemble a wave when you see it from the top view. The fastest up of the race was in Grand League with Papu with a 117.294. So as we're gonna go through the map for the first time here, let's actually see how everything fares. So, WaveBreaker, there's going to be a few peculiar things that I'm going to want to point out. The first one being the CP5 jump, which is going to be a pretty high-speed jump coming up in the best part of 10 to 15 seconds. Then we're going to have the first dirt, the second dirt part, and then the identity, of course, to talk about. But that's actually... See, this first jump, see, around 415 kilometers an hour is essentially required to optimally clear the jump. If you go at any lower speed than that, you will risk the chance of actually bumping the rounded part and actually flip over. Then we got this particular dirt line, and we're gonna go inside this particular block right here and actually clip the two blue patches that actually regain the grip of the tarmac to potentially make a few corrections and straighten the car a little bit in order to actually secure the slide. The optimum speed is around 300 kilometers an hour and around 310 kilometers an hour at the exit. Here, we're going to go through the identity. 200 kilometers an hour, 195 for the clearing every jump. And you can see, first jump towards the right, then we're going to another jump towards the... then we go left, right, left here. And then we're going to go for the final jump here. Go really wanting the exit to carry as much speed, and around 190 kilometers an hour is actually required to clear that final jump and go over the line to cross the line and start a new lap. So, Gwen remaining in the lead, 20 points ahead of Legu and Mixmon in 2nd and 3rd. As we're going to be starting WaveBreaker on step number 5. We're going to be spectating Raze. Again, as ever in the first laps, everybody is pretty much bunched up, although we do see Granity and Egir pulling out a little bit ahead along with Yannick and Gwen. The running order seems to be running pretty much as expected. Egir a little bit in the lead in front of Granity. Then we got Gwen in the right mix. Gwen currently sitting in 3rd place in front of Hydra. Hydra having a pretty good start, but as we saw in the previous 2 maps, the mistakes do come pretty early for the Exalti driver. Let's see how he fares in this particular map. As we're going to go for the wall riding here. Again, no cam switch on this wall ride, just like the one on ContestDiving. You have to switch cameras manually if you want to go in cam number 3. Granity remaining in the lead, but Egir fiercely battling with him, and Gwen and Miquatro, hello, and Gwen actually overtaking all of these drivers and getting into the lead for the first time in this map. And we see Granity and Miquatro having more speed than Gwen and overtaking back. This is really going to be a nip and tuck battle throughout this first lap at least, as we're going to go through the identity, and we see Yannick also coming back up into the frame, as Hydra has dropped out to 9th place as go through the identity for the first time. Second jump for Yannick. Granady and Miquatro pretty much perfectly landed for Yannick. Oh, and Yannick has made a mistake as well, and he's going to be dropping out of the top 3 and into 7th place. Meanwhile, Miquatro emerges in the lead. For once, it is not Gwen who emerges in the lead after lap number 1, but it is Miquatro. Gwen is 3/10 down on Miquatro. Raze 3rd place, half a second down on the leader, and then we got Dog and Mixmod battling it out with each other. Mixmod currently chasing down the German driver. Miquatro with the fastest up of the race, evidently, with a 121.377 as of lap number 1. Granity in 6th place, Yannick in P7, and that mistake in that final jump in the identity. And he's going to be looking to actually make his climb back up. His teammate Hydra is 1 second behind him, 1.3 seconds behind him even. Meanwhile, Miquatro and Gwen, the battle still continues. 1/10 of a second between the two players, and Gwen has a much tidier line than Mi4. He's able to keep much more momentum than the Finnish driver, and he's going to be on the prowl to overtake him and get back to first place. As they go through the identity for the second time in here. First jump perfectly landed for both Mi4 and Gwen. Let's actually see the second jump. Mi4 going for a bit of an aggressive line, which was pretty much perfectly landed, and Gwen, oh, Gwen clipping the inside, and that's gonna allow Raze to overtake him, Granity to overtake him, and Dog to overtake him. Gwen actually, Dog is not able to overtake Gwen, makes a little bit of resistance, so down to P4 in the space of a simple jump. That's how tricky those jumps really are. Mi4 meanwhile remaining in the lead, 4/10 in front of Raze, then 6/10 further down we got Granity currently sitting in third place, but potentially not for long as Gwen is looking to make his comeback, and Gwen overtakes Granity, who has made a mistake for third place. Fastest lap of the race so far with Egger with a 1:18.169 as of lap number 2. Mi4 going for the jump, clears it pretty much perfectly, going with Raze with a bit of a nosedive strap, which doesn't really yield all that much, to be honest. Meanwhile, Gwen sits in third place, Granity in fourth place. The gaps seem to have stretched a little bit, as we see half a second between Mi4 and Raze, 3/10 between Gwen and Raze, and then we got a further 3/10 between Gwen and Granity. And Gwen is looking to really actually secure all those points and potentially have another weapon while we're at it, and he's going to try to look for everyone's mistake and potentially gain the right of first place through those mistakes. Let's actually see the identity. First jump pretty good for Gwen, Mi4 and Raze. Oh, and actually Gwen clips the second time. It seems as though it's going to be his downfall as Dog overtakes him for third place. Yannick gets by him. Yannick has made the recovery and he's able to actually go for it. Raze has dropped a lot of places. He actually has to respawn apparently, and he's going to drop outside of the top 8 and even the top 10 as he clips the other, and Egger also respawning. My god, what is happening here? Egger will be forced to respawn again. I think no, he will be able to clear the jump and cross the finish line to start lap 4, but still, Mi4 remaining in the league, and this time 1.7 seconds in front of Dog. Mi4 looking in really good shape, looking really competitive, and potentially set to take map number 3 and his first map win of the day. Yannick with a 1:18.560 is the current fastest man on track and the current fastest lap holder. As Gwen gets much more speed than him on the wall ride and overtakes him for third place, but the battle still rages on between the Swiss and the Frenchman. Meanwhile, Gwen it is still Gwen's advantage though, with 1/10 of a gap between Gwen and Yannick, but Gwen has a bit of a dodgier landing than Yannick, and Yannick overtakes him for third place. The battle's going to be really nip and tuck between these two. And meanwhile, we got the rather further away referee, which is going to be Granity in this case. Meanwhile, Gwen has managed to overtaking Yannick in the identity. Let's see how these guys fare, and they finally get their identity together for one final time, and they're gonna cross the finish line in third and fourth respectively. Gwen third, Yannick fourth, meanwhile Mi4 maintaining in the lead, having dropped 2/10 on the Dog this particular lap, but still remaining in a pretty comfortable position. Meanwhile, Dog has a pretty safe buffer between him and Gwen so far, with a 1.5 second buffer between the German and the French driver, but the French driver is pretty much looking to eat that gap and to overtake potentially Dog for second place. So let's see how it fares. 0.4 of a second between Gwen and Yannick. Yannick's currently sitting in fourth, having recovered pretty well after a pretty bad start to this map. Gwen the fastest man on the track with a 1:18.523. Granity in fifth place as we see Hydra dropping down. He must have failed the jump somehow and was forced to respawn. And yeah, that was a pretty appalling section from Hydra, who drops down to 12th place as a result. Meanwhile, we see that Granity currently sitting in fifth place. He is a bit too far to actually make anything about the other guys' pace. Meanwhile, Mi4 through the identity for the penultimate time here. Second jump, beautifully negotiated from Mi4. Let's actually see the third jump. Really well done as well. And then the final jump to cross the start-finish line and start the final lap of WaveBreaker for this particular Open Grand League step and the Open Grand League in general. Almost 2 seconds of a gap between Mi4 and Dog. Dog currently sitting in second place. 6 seconds, now 6/10 up on Gwen. And Gwen, yeah, he's managed to catch 9/10 in one lap. He could potentially make the junction within the lap and overtake Dog for second place. Meanwhile, Yannick currently sitting in P4. 3.1 seconds down on the leader, then 1.7 seconds behind, 1.6 seconds behind actually, we find Granity from Team Trackmania Heroes Europe. Then we got 6th place for Mika. Then we got Sika and Nok in 8th place. And we see the first sub 18 of this map, 117.979 for Gwen, who snatches away the fastest lap of the race yet again. And Dog has made a mistake, and that's going to allow Gwen to go back up to 2nd place, and he's going to be trying to catch Miquatro. Miquatro's made a mistake! Unbelievable! Gwen will win the 3rd map potentially, as they will go through the identity for the final time. Miquatro has made a huge mistake, dropped a lot of momentum, and he's going to get overtaken by Dog and Yannick. Dog in 2nd, Yannick 3rd. Let's actually see how Gwen goes through the identity for this final time. And he clinches the inside wall! That's going to allow Dog to overtake him. Let's actually see how Dog fares. Oh, Yannick's having made a forced to respawn. Dog with a risky landing. Miquatro could potentially snatch the map away from Dog. Let's actually see. It's going to be over the line. Miquatro could potentially overtake him. Let's see. It's going to be Miquatro who finishes. No! Dog wins the map in front of Miquatro for less than 1/100th of a second. Gwen in 3rd place. Grenadi 4th. Yannick's 5th. Mika 6th. Sikwa 7th. Nok in 8th place. Easy Power in 9th. Default in 10th. Raze 11th. Mixmod 12th. Hydra 13th. Nixotica 14th, Egir will cross the line in 15th place, and Legu will cross the line as dead last and finish the runners. But what a stunning finish! An unbelievable scenes at the identity and the final part of the map on lap number 6 with a huge battle between Dog and Miquatro. Anyways, after this map, Dog gets the full 20 points, but Gwen will remain in the lead, and Dog manages to move up to 2nd place with 36 points. Miquatro 3rd with 25, Mixmod 4th with 24, Yannick's 5th with 22, Legu 6th with 21, Raze 7th with 20, and Granady moves up to 8th place with 19 points to complete the top 8 provisional. Now we move on to the new batch of maps and the money time. We are going to map number 4, which is going to be FreeSpirit by Link. This map is considered to be one of the easier maps of this particular batch, with an identity characterized by a simple 3-wheel, 2 slides, one around a gap and one around a pole, and a final booster to go uphill after the freewheel. The current fastest map of the race is held by Papu in the Step 5 Grand League with the 122.889. As we're going to be going through the map for one first time. Let's actually see on the nose. So yeah, there's going to be a jump coming up after this particular uphill section, which you do need. There's a certain ideal speed to clear to actually get as much traveling distance as possible. Over 335 kilometers an hour is actually really ideal for this particular jump. Rotate the car towards the right to actually land and start the slide, and then start this section right here. Then we're going to see people actually going a little bit up and down in here, and Dog hitting the wall here. Then we're going to go into this particular dirt section with 2 particular humps. Then an uphill left-hander, followed by a small tarmac corner before the final part of the dirt. Moving on to the ramp here, and there's going to be a checkpoint where people will have two schools of thought. You can either go for the raise route and go for the Neo, or go for the respawn, and then we'll go the identity. First slide, second slide around the pole, and then cross the, and then take the booster. And there's actually an optimum exit speed around 270 kilometers an hour or above to actually get enough more than enough speed to clear the uphill, and then one final jump to cross the line and start the lap again. So Gwen first with 52 points, Dog second at 36, and Miquatro third with 25. I'm going to be specking Miquatro for the start of map number 4 of step number 5. And as you can see now, we must be in the top 8. So anyone between 9th and 16 will lose all the points they have accumulated so far, and that would be absolutely devastating for some of the guys in the top of the scoreboards. I'm thinking about Gwen, I'm thinking about Yannick, I'm thinking about Legu in there as well. I'm thinking about Egir, especially Egir, currently sitting in 10th place with 18 points, but still remaining in the right group after the first couple of checkpoints. Egir currently sitting in 5th place. Thank you, Unknown Samurai, for the follow. Vielen Dank. Hello, hello, Unknown Samurai. I hope you're enjoying the cast as much as I do, because it's pretty hectic. I don't know if you were there on map number 3, but we saw a pretty nail-biting finish and an unbelievable seals. And as we saw the 2 winners, as we saw Dog and Miquatro being separated by only thousands. Oh, you're French. Ok. Bah écoutez, désolé. Merci beaucoup en tout cas pour le follow, ça fait plaisir. Du coup, So, Raze, having dropped down a little bit further down to 4th place, Nixotica emerging in the lead. The American driver seeming as though he could potentially make some good steps here, as we hear some people going for the Neo, while the rest of the field will go for the respawns, including Nixotica as they go for the Identity for the first time. The slide around the pole, Sika having much more momentum, Raze having more momentum than Sika, and that's going to allow him to overtake him on the uphill and back up in the lead, as the Slovak driver will go through the final drop-off and on the final slide to cross the start-finish line and start lap number 2. Raze will cross the line in 1st place, Mi4 in 2nd, Yannick's in 3rd place, Nixotica in 4th place, Sika in 5th place who's dropped momentum. Then we find ourselves with a pretty full order already. Gwen in 4th place, Dofalt 5th place, Nixotica 6th place, Hydra 7th, Easy Power 8th. 127.128 is the lap that Raze made on lap number 1, and he takes the fastest lap as a result. Raze pulling a little bit of a gap, 0.4 of a second between him and Mi4 and Yannick and Gwen as well. A really tight battle for the 2nd place and potentially 1st place in case of a mistake by Rizo. Then we see Dofalt and Hydra also trying to join in the mix. Hydra, could this potentially be the map where he shines? Could this be potentially where he starts actually, where he actually starts to, potentially get the really good points kicking in and actually make the jump into the top 8 potentially. I don't really know where Hydra is at the moment on the current ranking. Meanwhile, Mi4, Yannick, Gwen, and Raze in the lead so far. And he has touched the wall, and he's going to be dropping down a lot more speed than he should. 271 kilometers an hour at the uphill, but still, that's going to drop it down from 1st to 4th. Mi4 and Yannick almost crossing at the exact same time the checkpoint, with Mi4 having been battled the thousands of the lead here compared to Yannick, but Yannick would potentially overtake him, and yes, Yannick does so. Yannick crossing to start lap number 3 in the lead. 0.1 of a second in front of Mi4, Gwen in 3rd place, half a second down on the leader. Then we got Raze in 4th place, Legu in 5th place, Dofalt 6th place, Nixotica 7th, and Sika in 8th place. And we actually see that Dog is currently trailing the field quite a bit as they start number 3. He's currently sitting in 14th place with 36 points to his account, and it could be potentially devastating for him. Meanwhile, Yannick and Mi4 battling it out for the lead as we go through the Car Junior point of view, as I like to call it. Camera number 3, which is the bumper cam. 133.723 grants Leger the fastest lap of the race, as he was the fastest man on track on lap number 2. Meanwhile, Raze, Yannick, and Mi4 and Yannick, sorry, the battle still rages on. Gwen still in there, potentially looking to take advantage of anybody's mistakes. Then we got Legu in 4th place, as we saw that, yeah, I got a little bit of a problem with the cameras. It's pretty much stuck in cam 3 for some of the players. I'm really sorry about that. And some people are actually stuck in cam 2, so yeah, I don't really know what's happening in here. Let's quickly see if we can change the camera. No, we can't change the camera. Alors, pour ta question, comment je peux parler aussi bien anglais? Bah, de la pratique. Peut-être presque 10 ans de pratique. C'est pas grave. Anyways, as we go back to the cast, Mi4 has managed to get a really good uphill, but Yannick's got an even better uphill, and that's going to allow him to close the gap and potentially overtake him yet again as he starts lap number 4. Let's actually, yeah, we go. Replay cam is much best cam. And yes, Yannick's currently sitting in 2nd place, but less than a 10th behind Mi4. And Gwen gets into the frame. Hello, hello. Mr. World Ranking leader so far on the Open Grand League is looking to reap the benefits, and Evo overtakes Mi4 for 1st place. And make sure to actually achieve what he couldn't achieve on map 3, which is a map win. He could have done the clean sweep so far, but he didn't manage to get it as he crossed the line in 3rd place on WaveBreaker to collect 12 points. Yannick and Gwen will battle it out between themselves for the lead, and Gwen having a little bit of too much momentum and going for the jump. Dropping into 3rd place. 123.760 grants Gwen the fastest up of the race as of lap number 3. Yannick, Mi4, and Gwen still a pretty tight battle in there, and they're pulling away further and further from the rest of the field. 1 second down on the lead, we found Raze. Then we got half a second behind, we got Dofalt and Legu, who are battling it out with each other. Then we got Nixotica in 7th place and Soka in 8th place. And meanwhile, the big point scorers are down. Mixmod 24 points, 10th place, 1.4 seconds down on the 8th place driver, which is currently Sika. Then we got Dog, especially 36 points, currently sitting in 14th place. Meanwhile, as they go through the identity, Gwen will remain in the lead. Mi4 second place, Yannick's in third place. Yannick's not having as much momentum as Mi4, and the Finnish driver managing to overtake him. Now onto the final drop down as they started the penultimate lap. Gwen in the lead, Mi4 second, 2/10 down. Then we got 3/10 further down, Yannick's in third place. Then we got Ray's in fourth place. Ray's underneath the second of a gap between himself and the leader. Then we find Legu in fifth place and Default in sixth place, who are still battling it out between themselves. Then we got Exotica and P7, the American driver, currently looking to score some pretty good points in here. And then we got Sika currently completing the top 8, but he's currently potentially under pressure, and as is Exotica, as Mixmod has managed to get the junction back onto these guys and potentially deny them from scoring any points and potentially lose them. They're 14 and 11 points respectively. Meanwhile, Mi4, Gwen, and Yannick still a pretty tight battle for the lead in here. I can't believe that. Even though Gwen is the overall leader, he still gets a run for his money by Mi4 and Yannick. Meanwhile, Race with the 123.59 free gets the fastest lap of the race as of lap number 4. So we're still following Gwen and Mi4 and Yannick. They're gonna all go for the respawn in here. There we go. And they're gonna go through that entity for the penultimate time in this step. And Mi4 has clipped the inside of the drop. Oh no, he didn't. That is actually a pretty good impression. I thought he did, but he didn't. And he conserved more momentum than Gwen and gets into the lead. Yannick's also getting into the frame and overtaking Mi4 for the lead as they're going to start the final lap. This is a really nip and tuck battle between these guys for the 20 points that are at stake. 20 points for first place, 14 for second, and 12 for third, remember. So yeah, this is still pretty tight. Meanwhile, it seems as though Exotica has managed to get himself a little bit of a gap, and oh, it seems as though Sika has made a mistake compared to Exotica. He clipped the wall, and that's going to drop him down to 8th place. Meanwhile, Mixmod is a bit further behind, so he's still got a pretty much of a safe cushion between himself and the dropout zone. But Dog, I think it's safe to say it's pretty much over for the man so far. 15 seconds down on top 8, and yeah, 14th place. Those 36 points will be lost. Meanwhile, Yannick will remain in the lead. Mi4 in second place, 3/10 down on the leader. Then we got Gwen in hot pursuit. Faut savoir comment apprendre efficacement. Ah bah évidemment, hein, l'école c'est une bonne base, mais après, regarde du YouTube, regarde des séries en VOST, apprends du vocab, c'est le mieux que je puisse te dire. Yannick with the fastest up of the race with 123.566 as of lap number 5, and he gets overtaken by Gwen, who takes the lead again as they go for the identity for the final time in this step. Let's actually see how everything goes for them. First slide done perfectly. Yannick with a bit of more of an aggro line here, but he seems to have dropped a bit more momentum. Yes, he did. Compared to Gwen, he's dropped much more momentum, and that's going to allow him to go back into the lead as they go into the final sets of corners, and Gwen will win map number 4 after maps 1 and 2. Not quite the clean sweep, but still, Gwen in first place, Yannick second, Mi4 third, Ray's 4th, Legu 5th, Default in 6th place, Exotica 7th, and Sika in 8th place. Mixmod will lose his 24th point, sitting in P9. Then we got Easy Power P10, Nock 11th, Gravity will finish in 12th place, Dog in 13th place will lose this 36 points. One with 123.306 will get the fastest lap of the race. Hydra will finish in 14th place as he crosses the identity and will get to the drop down zone. '15th place for Egir, who crosses the line, and then we're just waiting on Mika, who's going to go through the identity for one final time. Still a pretty tight battle. Ooh, that was the horn that was... Sorry about that, that horn kind of surprised me a little bit. And yeah, we saw a pretty nip and tuck battle throughout the map. This is really exciting to watch. OGL is really where it is, as Mika is done with the map, and we're gonna see the order shuffle a little bit, but not all that much. Gwen will remain in the lead with 72 points to his credit. Then we're gonna see Yannick's in 3rd place, I think, as Mi4 manages to get, yes. Gwen's first with 72, Mi4 2nd with 37, Yannick's 3rd with 36, Ray's 4th with 30, Ray's Legu 5th with 30, equal to Ray's, then Default 6th with 23, Sika 7th with 20, and Exotica moves up to 8th place with 18 points. As we go into map number 5, the points guillotine of the previous step of the step 5 of the Trackmania Grand League, which is Zeppelin, map made by MD Point. A map that is characterized by pretty much a Zerator style identity with a landing with a Zeppelin jump consisting of a Zeppelin jump followed by a transfer map. As we see, the fastest lap of the race on step number 5 of TMGL is held by Papu with a 123.358. Papu on his way to score 104 points in that particular step, which is a staggering amount of points. So then, in terms of particular stuff to note, we're going to get into that in a little bit in the course of 10 seconds, as we're going to go after the first wall ride, sorry. We're going to be checking in on with Raze or Yannick's potentially, yeah. Wall ride where the camp switch is in. So you see, land on the right here, around 330 kilometers an hour to actually clear the jump, go on the left side, and go into the, and actually clear the jump. Merci Sigeth for follow, merci beaucoup, thank you very much. And yes, let's actually get back into there. So we're going to get into the first Zeppelin jump in a little bit here. Sorry if that actually blew out the microphone. I'm really sorry. I'm trying out some new settings with the microphone. I got a new boom arm set up. And yeah, tell me if everything is still good, if you can still hear the game, or if you need to bump it up a little more. I think I need to bump it up a little more, actually. Yeah, there it is. So we're gonna go for the first Zeppelin jump. You see they go around the bubble and full speed around the outside to actually clear the first jump, land a little bit on the blimp, and then drop down. Then we got this vertical transfer here, which is easy to mess up, as we see Yannick's do, and that's going to be forcing him to respawn and get into the, and actually take the, an alternative route. And yeah, then we got the second jump, which you should need around 250 kilometers an hour to actually clear, and then the final drop down to cross the start-finish line and start the lap. We're going to be specking Yannick's at the start of map number 5. Yannick, as we saw in the final, as we saw in the previous map, finishing in second place to Gwen, but 2 tenths behind, and actually giving the man a run for his money. Let's actually see how everything goes for the Swiss driver, and so far, everybody still remains grouped up. You know how it is in Trackmania. It is pretty much this, the same one thing as always. Merci Unknown Samurai pour les 2 €. Allez, je commence à suivre ta chaîne, donc un premier don de ma part. Merci beaucoup. Sure, merci beaucoup, ça fait extrêmement plaisir. Meanwhile, we got the lead establishing with Gwen, Egir, and Yannick. Sorry a little bit for the shaky cast. This is the first time I get a donation, so yeah, time to celebrate. Anyways, Egir, Gwen, and Yannick in the top 3. Yannick going for the wall bang. Meanwhile, as the other guys go for the standard route, and Gwen has managed to get a much better line than these guys and manages to remain in first place. Egir in second. We also got Yannick in third as well. Raze in 4th place. Hydra in 5th place. Could this be the map to finally kick it off? And meanwhile, in terms of the big point scorers, let's actually see. Nixonica is so far one of the bigger losers with 9th place and 18 points. Then we got Default and Sika in 13th and 14th place with 23 and 20 points respectively. And Gwen has failed! Gwen failed it! Unbelievable! That could be the downfall! Gwen with 72 points drops out in 11th place, Egir as well. Meanwhile, Yannick has managed to get through the identity perfectly, and he's going to be able to cross the start-finish line in 1st place. Granity in 2nd place. Could this be the time where the wheel driver manages to get up? Hydra in 3rd place. The order gets shuffled quite a big time here. Legger in 4th place, Mixmod 5th, Miquatro 6th, Raisin 7th, Dithokika in 8th place. And then 3.3 seconds down on him, we find Nok, the first known scorer with 4th place, the first points loser, sorry. But most importantly, Gwen. This is a really an uncharacteristic mistake that I didn't manage to catch on camera. I'm really sorry about that, guys. Yannick with the fastest up of the race, evidently with 128.710 as he crosses the finish line first. And they won't manage to clear the jump. Yannick's in the lead. Hydra in 7th place, overtaking Granity. And Granity getting overtaken by Ligu for 3rd place. But yeah, Gwen, unbelievable, missing the identity and actually being forced to respawn. And he's currently down 9 seconds on the 8th place driver. So remember, it's still lap number 2, so anything can still happen, and I'm pretty sure anything can happen. But yeah, so far it is going to be pretty much going to be like an uphill struggle for him, as he's going to be looking to actually secure those 72 points at all costs. That's going to be so devastating for the Game War driver. Current points leader in the Open Grand League standings. Yannick has failed it. He's going to be forced to actually go for the checkpoint and respawn it. And yes, that's going to be dropping him out of the lead. And meanwhile, we got a new leader, Hydra in the lead. Hello. The man who actually didn't manage to score points so far, through rather unlucky circumstances in the first few maps, has managed to emerge in the lead after a fault from his teammate Yannick. But Yannick remains in the group in actually 8th place, 4.6 seconds in front of Sika in in 9th place. And yes, Suomi Perkele, Mi4 currently remaining in 4th place and looking to secure those 37 points. We could potentially see a good order shuffle here, and Gwen is teetering on the edge, and that's going to be so devastating. Starting lap number 3, the odds of retaining his points are diminishing by the second. Hydra with the fastest step of the race with 124.454. Hydra having a stonking time so far after 2 laps crossed. Currently in the lead, 0.8 of a second in front of Legu. Hydra going for the wallbang compared to Legu, who actually goes for the drift uphill. Mixmon in 3rd place, Mi4 4th, Raze in 5th. Then we see Exotica in 6th place. A good result so far for the American driver. Granady in 7th place. Then we see Yannick's in 8th place, but Yannick could potentially see Sika growing further and further into his mirrors and potentially snatch his 8th place away and make him lose all of his points, which would be devastating for him as well. Unbelievable. I'm still trying to figure out how Gwen, how Gwen could have failed this identity. One of the best up-and-coming talents. Oh, and actually Yannick is forced to respawn again as he manages to miss that checkpoint on the landing. And yeah, he gets through there as well, but still, Sika will get through. Oh, Sika forced to respawn, so he's going to be safe. Meanwhile, Yannick will cross the line in 8th place to start lap number 4. Hydra still in the lead, 1 second ahead of Legu. Mixmon in 3rd place, Raised in 4th place, Mi4 5th. Granady 6th, Exotica 7th, and Yannick's 8th, but really luckily for him, as we see a 8-second gap between him and the 9th place driver, which is currently Nok, as we see that Gwen currently sitting in 12th place with 13 seconds of a gap between him and Yannick's. He's currently still looking to push up and never give up, but it's still looking really unlikely for him to secure those 72 points. Hydra with the fastest step of the race so far with 124.440. As we see him currently remaining in the lead, pulling the gap having pretty much stabilized between him and Legu. Although Hydra manages to pull a little bit of a gap, it seems as though it's really an accordion effect. As we see some people being a bit more at ease with some parts than others, and vice versa. So yeah, you can see the gap extending by 1 or 2 tenths and then retracting by 1 or 2 tenths at times. Yannick and Granady currently battling it out with each other. Let's actually see the identity for both Hydra and Legu. Hydra dropping down pretty much perfectly. Legu as well. Let's actually see on the second part of it how everything goes. Hydra going for the perfect clear here and dunking it on the final ramp as he's going to start lap number 5. Hydra landing perfectly on the blimp and crossing the start-finish line again in the lead to start the penultimate lap. Let's actually see Yannick. Yannick's going through that identity pretty much perfectly as he battles with Granady for 7th place. Exotica in 8th place. Exotica must have made a mistake, forced to respawn, and yes, he's dropping down to 8th place, but still remaining pretty safe as he has a 5.4 second buffer between him and Nok, who is currently the first non-scoring driver in 9th place. And Raze having made a mistake as well, Granady as well, so Granady dropping down to P8, Raze to P6, Yannick's back up to P5. A little bit more breathing room for Yannick, let's say, with 36 points. He's not quite the leading points so far, but still really valuable indeed. Meanwhile, Hydra remaining in 1st place, but getting actually caught back by Legu as Mi4 logs in the fastest lap of the race so far with a 124.375. 371 Perkele, as I like to say. Perkele for Mi4, who's currently sitting in 3rd place, 5 seconds down on the leader. A little bit too far away, and he's currently having a bit of a lonely race. 5 seconds down on the leader, but currently 4 seconds up on Mixmod, his nearest competitor, in 4th place. Then we find Yannick 8 tenths behind Mixmod, who could be set to potentially overtake him if time goes on. Let's actually see Hydra for the penultimate time. Ooh, that was a bit of a risky landing at this identity here. Hydra going for the perfect dunk here, and that's gonna slam it onto the final jump. Let's actually see. Yes, he crosses it pretty much perfectly. Legu remaining in 2nd place and the final lap of the race so far. Could this be the unlikely map winner for today? Mi4 currently in 3rd place, 4 seconds down on the leader, 5 seconds down on the leader. Mixmod in 4th place, Yannick in 5th place, still remaining the gap pretty much stabilized. And yeah, and Gwen meanwhile has dropped down to last place. It's gonna be the surefire 72 points going down the gutter for the Game War driver. Such a shame. A really big blow. Even though he will remain in the top 8, he could potentially, or maybe not, he could potentially drop out of the top 8, and that could potentially deny himself a spot at the combined match on March the 8th. That could be devastating. Meanwhile, Hydra going through the final lap of the race. 124.102 as Yannick manages to snatch the lap away from Mi4. Fastest up for him with 124.102 as of lap number 5 as we attack the final lap for him and the rest of the field. Hydra was 8 tenths in front of Legu. Legu going, actually managing to get a little bit of a gap, to eat the gap bit by bit, but I wonder if it's going to be enough. Will he be able to force Hydra into a mistake at the identity? That's what we're going to have to see, as they're going to go through the identity for the final time in this step. Hydra getting it really nicely. Legu as well, going with a bit of a safer strat than Hydra. Let's actually see how he fares. Oh, going really low on the checkpoint. He's gonna dunk it. That's gonna be potentially the map win for Hydra. Let's actually see the final blimp jump. Yes, he crosses it perfectly. And Hydra is your new map winner in step number 5. First place for him, Legu, second place. MiQuattro will cross the line in third place. No, yes, he will cross in third place. Mixmod in fourth place. Yannick will secure his 36 points with fifth place. Then we got Gravity in sixth position. Then we find a bit further down, we got Nixotica in 7th place, being chased down by Sika, and Nixotica will cross in 7th place and 8th place for Sika. And now we go into the points loss. Knock in 9th. Raise in 10th, 30 points down the drain. Egir in 11th place, one of the top runners. He could potentially drop out of the top 8 in this step alone. Then we got Easy Pawa in 12th place, but most importantly, Gwen in 13th place, 72 points down the drain for him, as he's gonna drop out of the lead. Devastating, c'est terrible pour Gwen. Jog in 14th place, Default 15th, and Mika crosses the line in last place. So then, yeah, rip Gwen, exactly, Eric. I'm really sorry for the French words, but that's absolutely terrible what happened to him. And we're gonna have a new leader, as we're gonna see MiQuattro jump into the lead with 59 points. Suomi Perkele overtakes the world and manages to get up into first place with 49, Yannick second with 45, Legu third with 44, fourth place for Sika with 26, Nixotica fifth with 25th, Hydra 6th with 23, then we got Mixmod 7th with 15, and Granady 8th with 12. As we are gonna go into the final map of this particular step, which is StarCase by, let's actually see, yeah, StarCase by Firestorm, if I'm not mistaken. Let's actually see on the identity. It's gonna be Firestorm, pretty sure. Yes, this particular map was really nail-biting to see in the Grand League, as we saw Tween almost get eliminated by Matt, and vice versa. The current fastest lap is held by Pack as of step number 5 in TMGL with 123.224. Let's actually go into the map a little bit here, as we're gonna see the first dirt jump here, around 280 kilometers an hour, around 200 kilometers an hour, sorry, to clear it pretty much perfectly. And then we're gonna see the rest of the, okay, CP dirt, okay, that was the dirt jump. The first jump before that requires at least 270 kilometers an hour to actually clear. We're gonna be able to see it in the live round. Then we're gonna go into a little bit of a more full speed section with the first loop right here. Now, you might not see it in the camera, but this is actually a cam switch. I'm saying mainly that for those of you who don't know Trackmania, but it switches automatically the camera to the bumper cam if you actually go through the loop. Then we got another loop coming up, and pretty much full steam ahead section, heading into the final part of the track, which is where we'll find the identity. First of all, there's going to be this downhill around 250, 260 kilometers an hour, as we see that Yannick goes a little bit further, and it goes for a really weird sliding here. 260 kilometers an hour as they drop down. Then we're gonna get the jump 320 kilometers an hour as they exit the ramp, and then they're gonna have to slow down, brake a little bit, touch the one in here, and then the identity. 3 jumps. First jump here for the first booster, then we're gonna take the second booster for the second jump, and then the final one here could potentially be made without the final booster, although people will actually have a tendency to actually go for the final drift instead of going for the jump, risky jump. So we're gonna be seeing who will win step number 5 of TMGL, and we're gonna go with the current points leader, MiQuattro. 280 kilometers an hour, 275 actually, to clear this jump, and that's pretty much made perfectly by MiQuattro and the rest of the field. Granady emerging a little bit in the lead, then we got Mika currently sitting in the right group. Mika emerging in the lead after this particular dirt jump, and then we're going to see the running order shuffle back to how it is expected to be, and now we're going to see Gwen, who has pretty much nothing to lose now at this point, trying to bag as much points as he can in this particular map. MiQuattro, meanwhile, remaining in the lead in front of Default, 1/10 of a second between him and the Belgian driver. Then we find Gwen in 3rd place, Mika in 4th place. Then we find, oh, actually we see that Yannick is a little bit further down. He's dropped a little bit more momentum than I would have expected. He's currently sitting at the back end of the tail end of the trail of lap number 1, but that's still, everything remaining to happen here for the Swiss driver, who could potentially still be set to lose 45 points after all if he makes a mistake somewhere along the line, sorry. So the first drop down here before the first identity. Let's actually check in back in with the leaders as we see Granady in the thick of things. Mi4, Mika, Gwen, Granady, and Ligger so far your top 5. Let's actually see who gets the first jump correctly. Granady going for the safer approach of the jump. Second jump approach for Granady. Will he go for the final jump? No, he won't. Meanwhile, we actually saw that Mi4 went for the jump and actually crossed the line in the lead, but he failed the bubble jump, and that's going to drop him down 2 places as both Mika and Granady overtake him. Mi4 with the fastest lap of the race with a 126.459, but he drops down to 8th place as a result. Hydra scoots by. Yannick scoots by, and that could potentially deny him the scoring of 49 points. I know it's only lap 2, but still, that could be a sign of things to come for Mi4. Let's actually hope it isn't. Mika from Team Next Event, currently sitting in the lead. One player that we haven't seen all that much. One player that was sitting much towards the tail end of the field in this particular step, but still remaining in the lead in front of Granady. 0.2 of a second between him and Granady, and actually Gwen has overtaken him. And now it's going to be Gwen hunting down his prey. It's going to be the shark and the fish. Mika being the fish and Gwen being the shark, and it seems as though the shark will soon eat the fish as he seeks to get as much momentum as possible and get much more momentum than Mika as a result. And Granady gets into the mix as well and overtakes Mika for the lead. Meanwhile, Gwen has a much better line and overtakes them both for the lead. Let's actually see how everything fares in the rest of the field. Legu 4th, Igor 5th, Yannick 6th, Default 7th, and Mi4 8th as they go for the identity for the second time. Mika in the lead again. This is going to be a really French battle here in the top 2. First jump done, Gwen with a bit of a dodgy landing. Second jump done for these guys. And who goes for the final jump? It seems as though nobody went for the final jump in the leaders. Granady getting into the lead and actually pulling a bit of a gap, and Mika has been forced to respawn and take the safe route, and that's going to drop him down to P5. Legu in 2nd place, Igor 3rd place, Mi4 4th, Mika 5th, and Yannick's actually emerging in 5th place. Granady with the fastest up of the race so far with 124.795. The wheel player playing with a Microsoft Sidewinder wheel from 1998, I must remind you, is currently sitting in the lead of this particular map. Could he potentially grab his first map win? That would be Pog, wouldn't it? Legu currently sitting in 2nd place, half a second behind Granady, trying to climb as much as possible. Meanwhile, Hydra dropped down to P8 and could potentially be set to drop down to Dolphal, who's currently sitting right behind him, and he could be potentially set to lose the 23 points he gained, the 23 points he gained over the course of these 5 maps. Meanwhile, Granady remaining in the lead, 6/10 in front of Legu. Then we got a second of a gap between Legu and Egya. Egya currently sitting in 3rd place, Gwen in 4th place. Then we find Mi4 5th and Yannick in 6th. Yannick and Mi4 battling with each other for the benefit of 4th place and 10-point score. Mi4 having a bit of a dodgier drift compared to Yannick, and that's going to allow the Swiss driver to get back ahead of the Finnish driver and into 4th place. Now to the identity. Let's see if actually anything goes well. Gwen with a risky landing. Someone is being forced to respawn, and that's Egir. He's going to drop out of the top 8, and Mi4 going for the risky jump in the end. He's not going to have enough speed for the bubble jump, though, will he? No, he won't. He won't eclipse the end, and that's going to be dropping him down to 7th place and potentially outside of the top 8. Granady with the fastest up of the race so far, again with 124.645. Granady remaining in the lead, 1.3 seconds in front of Legu. Then we got Yannick in 3rd place. Yannick's currently sitting in a pretty good position, looking in pretty good shape so far. Hydra as well in 4th place, 1 second down on his teammate. Then we got Mika in 5th. Igir in 6th, and Igir has made a mistake in the dirt, and that's going to be dropping him down on the order. And Mi4 currently sitting in 10th place. Hello! 49 points are at risk here for Mi4. That's not where he wants to see. That's not what he wants to see, and that's not where he wants to be. There's still 3 laps to go for him to potentially reverse the curve a little bit. When currently not having a really particularly stellar map, currently sitting in 6th place, 5.76. Ooh, and that's Mika who has actually been forced to respawn. And don't force to respawn as well. That's going to allow Mi4 to move up to 8th place and Olfont up to 7th place. Yes, that is the case. Ooh, Mika and Dog actually saving Mi4 big time as they made a mistake. Meanwhile, Granady is going to be going for the identity. Sorry for the lack of POV on Mi4. I'm trying to follow everything here. Potentially be an identity mistake. Granady so far making it safely across and crossing the start-finish line in 1st place. Then we see Legu in 2nd place, Yannick in 3rd place, Hydra 4th place, Gwen in 5th place, Sika 6th place, Dofalt 7th, and actually Mi4 overtaking a lot of people here, including Dofalt. Dofalt scooting by him as the bubble, more speed than him on the bubble jump. But yeah, currently Mi4 in 6th place, Sika in 7th, Gwen in P8, and meanwhile Exotica has dropped out into 11th place. 25 points at risk with the American driver. Meanwhile, let's actually go back onto the lead. 125.240 as we see Grenady getting that lap and getting the fastest lap of the race yet again. The wheel driver really pulling a lot of time together and pulling his 4.8 second gap to Legu in second place, Hydra in third. Dofalt in fourth, Yannick's in fifth. Yannick currently sitting really great here. Meanwhile, 8th place is still at risk here. We see Miquatro and Gwen battling it out with each other. Miquatro dropping a bit of time compared to Gwen, but then we see 1.3 seconds down on him. Who it is? Hello, it is Centauri's Easy Power, and we got Eggy also in hot pursuit. So that could be make or break for Miquatro in terms of securing his 49 points, and he clinches the wall, and that's gonna potentially Easy Power to overtake him. Easy Power with much more momentum. Miquatro will drop down to P9 as of this particular mistake. But he's not said his last words yet. Egir also overtakes Easy Power. Miquatro and Egir battling it out for an 8th place, and Easy Power in hot pursuit. Miquatro not having as much speed as Egir, and he sees that Gwen has made a mistake and drops down to outside of the top 8. That's pretty much going to be it for the French driver. Meanwhile, final lap for Granity, who crosses the first place with 4.6 seconds of a gap between him and Legu. 3rd place for Hydra for Team XLT. Dofalt in 4th place, Yannick in 5th place, Sika in 6th place, and then we see Miquatro currently sitting right on the edge of the top 8 and actually having made a mistake, and that's going to allow Egir to overtake him. Egir's up to 7th, Miquatro up to Miquatro down to P8, and Gwen is down to 2.2 seconds behind Miquatro. That could still be all to play for. Miquatro could still be at risk of losing his points, but Gwen has not had a really good, has not had a great dirt section, and we see the first sub 125 by Granity with 124.900. Granity looking set to actually cross the line and take his first map win, unless any mistake happens in the identity, which we're gonna have to check on at some point. We're not going to be able to spec Miquatro all the time, sorry guys. We're going to have to check a little bit further up the order. But meanwhile, Gwen seems to be a little bit at a harmless distance compared to Miquatro, so Miquatro meanwhile feeling a little bit safe so far. Although anything can still happen. Meanwhile, Yannick's and Hydra battling it out 3rd and 4th. Actually, Dofalt and Yannick's battling it out for 4th place. Remember, there's 10 points at stake here, and here there's 1 more point at stake in terms of scoring for both of these guys. And Yannick seems to have gone pretty good here. Granady first jump done, second jump done for him, and he's gonna win map number 6. First map win for Granady in the Grand League, then we got in the Open Grand League, then we got Legu in 2nd place, Hydra in 3rd, and Yannick's in 4th, Dofalt 5th, and we see Miquatro battling it out with Egir and Sika. Egir 6th place, Dofalt 5th place, Miquatro 7th place, he secures those points. Sika in 8th place with 26 points. Oh no, he's dropped, he's forced to respawn! Sika will drop out of the top 8 at the last second. Went with a 123.779, gets the fastest up of the race and gets into 8th place at the last second. Sika 9th, Race 10th, Mixmod 11th, Dog 12th, Nixarika 13th, Easy Power 14th, Mika 15th, and then we see Nok in 16th place. So, at the end of it all, we're gonna see a brand new step winner in this Grand League, as we're gonna see their standings getting it merged together. It's going to be Legu with 58 points. Yes, Legu gets 1st place with 58 points. 2nd place, Miquatro with 56 points. Yannick finishes in 3rd place with 55. 4th place for Hydra with 35. Granady 5th with 32. 6th place for Egir with 12. Dofalt 7th with 11 points. And Gwen 8th with 9 points. Wow. This step has been full of surprises and full of great battles, as we see the final step ranking here, the final match ranking, and we're gonna have to wait a little bit further, guys, as we're gonna be waiting for all the matches to be completed and for the scores to be gathered up. So yeah, you can see 10,000 points for Legu and only 9,000 points for Gwen. We could potentially see a lead change here after all. I don't know. I don't know if Gwen is still 100% in this. I mean, he could be in after the last step, but yeah, I know there's still 1 step to run, but he could still be at jeopardy of actually making it to the combined match. So as you can see, the results will be available when all of the matches are over. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna switch over to this camera right here. There we go. So as you can see, there's a bit of a change in terms of what the FOV looks like. Before, you actually used to see a little bit of a rounded thing, which was actually my pop filter, but as you can see, hang on a second, the pop filter isn't there anymore. It's been detached. Why is that? Because I've actually got my own boom arm. I've actually purchased a Rode PSA 1 that's actually clamped onto my desk, and I got the microphone without any pop filter on top of here. So I hope everything goes good as far as sound quality is concerned in terms of my voice, and if everything goes well in terms of the actual sound quality of the game, and if you can actually hear the game as well. So, step 5. I wonder what your guys are and what your guys' thoughts are on this particular step. I know Eric, he actually did get a little bit late. He got in at map number 5, if I'm not mistaken. But for those of you who were actually there a little bit earlier, what are your thoughts on that? I would really love to hear you, to hear what you have to say about the about what this step was like for you, at least from your perspective as a spectator. Because as a caster, it was pretty intense. It was full of surprises. Let's actually check Twitter a little bit. If we got the results so far. Do we have any results for server 2? It seems as though we don't have anything. At least not yet. À 21h, il n'y a pas autre chose, la Chase Cup. En fait, le truc, c'est que là, en fait, je prends un petit peu... pour l'instant, je me focalise full sur l'OGL et la TMGL. Et en vrai, le truc, bon, je m'y remets un petit peu doucement. J'ai été absent pendant un mois ou deux. Et honnêtement... Alors que j'ai un drop, yes. Honnêtement, je pense que je vais m'arrêter là après, une fois qu'on aura tous les rankings de cette step-là de l'OGL. Il y a la Chase Cup, mais en tout cas, je ne serai pas là pour la caster, en tout cas. So, we're still waiting on all the matches to be completed. We're still waiting for all the results to be compiled. It's going to take a little bit of a time, so what we're going to do, we're going to take a bit of a quick break for this particular step. Merci beaucoup Necroa pour le follow, ça fait super plaisir de te voir là. So yeah, we're going to take a bit of a quick break before, until we get the matches, the full standings actually compiled and ready to be displayed on screen. And I'm going to take this opportunity to actually rehydrate myself, drink a little bit of water. I got a bit of a dry throat, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, we'll be back after this. Stay with us. Un conseil, hydratez-vous, c'est important. Alright, we're back. We're still waiting for the results to actually be compiled. 15 minutes until the theoretical end of the step, although it will likely end sooner. We're gonna switch back to the camera scene for a little bit here, so... sorry about that. I still got a little bit of an irritated throat. Well, not in terms of voice, but in terms of coughing, etc. I do have chronic coughing from every now and again. I do have a treatment that I take every day, but yeah, slowly but surely we're getting there. Yeah, in terms of casting, this step was absolutely insane. We saw battles. Although the first two maps were kind of predictable, I would say that the last 4 maps were really the real banger, especially maps 3, 5, and map number 6. So map number 6 was pretty insane. I think it was pretty good to watch. Map number 5 was a big upset. I'm not going to tell anything else because I know that Necro's in the chat and he doesn't want to get spoiled anything. So yeah, I'm not going to spoil that to him. And we saw a really, really nip and tuck battle at the final lap, at the final corner between on the map number 3, where only a few thousandths of a second actually separated the two drivers. Oh, it's okay, okay. But I just really want to make sure. I thought you wouldn't like actually to get spoiled the results, so I would actually want you to check the to actually check the VOD to actually see for yourself, because it is absolutely insane what actually went on. So we're still waiting, still waiting for the refresh button to actually heal me something. What, you saw the results in some streams before? Really? Oh yeah, you saw the results of, okay. Okay, the step is over, we're gonna get the ranking, and yes, we do have a leader change, we're gonna, well, we do have a leader change, as we're gonna go into the game scene right now. 3, 2, 1, here is your ranking after step number 5 of the Open Grand League Winter 2020. Afi emerges in the lead with 49,595 points. Second place for Yannick with 49,070 points. Swiss 1-2. Who would have thought of that? Gwen bumps down to third place with 48,930 points. At 48,000 points dead in fourth place, we found Legu from Team Versatility. Then we find his teammate Tricky a little bit further behind in fifth place with 46,805 points. Igir remains in sixth place with 46,800 points. Then we find the two XLT teammates, Volnera and Hydra. Volnera currently sitting in P7 with 46,130 points. And with 46,000 points, that is Hydra in 8th place. Let's actually go down into the top 10. 25,870 points for Miquatro in P9, and 10th place for Razi from Team Molotovs and Marshmallows with 45,470 points. Miquatro currently sitting in P9 around, 130 points behind Hydra. So nothing is set in stone so far for the remaining top 4 spots, for the remaining top 8 spots. You can see only 1,000 points separate top P5 from P9. So yeah, there could still be everything to play for in the final step. Now, you know when the final step is. It's going to be next week, February the 15th, same time, same channel. I'm going to be casting step number 6 of the Open Grand League, and we're going to go live again with the placements, with a little bit of placement casting. And then we're going to go into the to one of the top 32 matches and cast the final step into deciding who will get their chance to qualify for TMGL Summer 2020. And as I said, Trackmania Action on Twitter, the Trackmania Nation will not be over, because tomorrow I will be casting the 6th and final step of Trackmania Grand League. Yes, of course, co-caster. Yes, Eric, you're always welcome to co-cast with me. So yeah. Eric and Billboard will be back next week for the OGL, and for myself, I will be back tomorrow with the cast of the 6th and final step of the Trackmania Grand League for the Pittsburgh Knights. It's going to be over on the Pittsburgh Knights' channel at twitch.tv/Knights. So, with that then, I will just leave you to what has become a tradition in the stream to end it with this particular song, Home Before the Night. So, thank you very much to you guys for watching. Thank you very much to all of the new followers, to people who donated. I wanted to thank Unknown Samurai. Merci beaucoup pour tes 2 euros, ça fait extrêmement plaisir. Ça fait extrêmement plaisir de voir quelqu'un qui se met à supporter la chaîne comme ça. Évidemment, ce n'est pas nécessaire de donner, mais en tout cas, c'est possible. Le lien est dans la bio de la chaîne Twitch. If you guys don't understand, I actually have a donate button, a donate link in the Twitch bio. You can actually donate me via PayPal if you actually so desire. But anyways, thank you very much to all the new followers, to all of the spectators, and thank you for watching. You guys are incredible. None of this would have happened without you. Anyways, that is gonna be it for me. I am gonna be going offline right now. So, see you tomorrow for the Open Grand League, for the Trackmania Grand League cast we're at twitch.tv/Knights casting for Tween. And for those on the stream, as always, I'll see you all next time. Godspeed, people!